Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Corey Tusick. Welcome on in. We've got comedian Joe Bartnick. You can check him out April 29th at Batavia, Illinois. And then you can also check him out May 1st at Lincoln Log, Chicago, and May 2nd in the Mad Hatter in Indianapolis, Mad Hatter Event Center. Sorry. Get that right, in Indianapolis. And then, as always, we've got the great Josh Yowie with The Athletic. And we want to thank our sponsors, Bill Neofis and Danny's Pizzas and Hoagies and Labatt Beer. This segment is brought to you by Labatt, brewed for the chirps, the rivalries, and the sacred art of trash talk. Labatt, brewed for the roast. Yesterday, quite simply, was the biggest game of the season for the Penguins. There's no doubt about it. In Sidney Crosby was a game-time decision on Long Island. It certainly felt like the season was very much hanging in the balance, and the Penguins came out and utterly dominated the Islanders. Did that game feel like a statement win to you, Josh?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I felt a lot of things about that game. I thought the Penguins were really impressive, Corey. Just their forward depth, like their forwards were all unbelievable last night. And yeah, I think not just to go on the road and win in what was probably their biggest game since Game 7 at the Garden in 2022. I mean, honestly, it was that big of a game to not just go on the road and win, but just kick the hell out of them the way they did. And to be down 3-1 and then just to say, okay, we're going to take over the game. And I don't even know if the Islanders had another scoring chance after that point. Honestly, that's how good the Penguins were. Yeah, I think it was kind of a statement win. I think, like Joe always says, until the X is beside their name, you don't want to say they're in the playoffs. But, man, I think they're making the playoffs after last night. I have for a while now, but that was a pretty convincing win. And it also made me wonder about the Islanders. Like, that's not a very good defensive team. And when Sorokin doesn't stand on his head, that they don't look all that impressive. And they also have a brutal schedule the rest of the way. They're in a little bit of trouble right now.
Well, Josh, our fearless leader here, Brian, has asked me what I was thinking when it was 3-1. And my thought was how much I hate Samuel Girard. But then they all bounced back. If we win tonight, I will be at ease. Yeah. I think tonight you have to win both. And then I think it puts us in a good position.
Well, and also, if you win tonight, not only do you get 2 more points, but you almost knock out the Red Wings, who are one of the teams still theoretically battling the Penguins, not in the Metro Division standings, but for those wild card spots as well. And I think the Red Wings are really vulnerable right now, even though they're more rested than the Penguins. This is a real opportunity for the Penguins. And yeah, last night when they were down 3-1, I thought Shilovs was pretty bad last night. That was my big concern for the Penguins. I didn't really love any of the goals he allowed, as first 2, but just the way they took over the game, we have not seen them do that in a while. And to score 8 goals, guys, and not 1 point for Erik Karlsson, only 2 assists for Sid. Like, it was just everybody. It really was. That was a convincing overall team performance.
Sheenikov, no goals.
Yeah,
no points.
All right.
How about Raquel, or as I call him, Raquel, first shorty in like 870 games.
And that, Joe, was the biggest moment of the hockey game.
It was might have been the biggest moment of the season. The 2 old veterans, the guys that, they should be traded. Oh, you got the draft picks coming through.
No, and I asked Rusty about that particular play, and he said, it just shows how smart he and Raquel are. They realized the Islanders' power play had been on the ice for a while, and they thought they looked a little tired. And that's why they got aggressive in that moment and scored the goal that absolutely changed the game. Funny story, about an hour before puck drop, I was in the media lounge on Long Island, and the coach of the Swedish Olympic team was there to watch the game. And he was going to talk with Raquel and Karlsson afterwards. Very nice man. And I said to him, geez, I hope you've been watching Karlsson lately. He's been unbelievable. And he said, I know, but he says, don't forget about Rax. He said, I've been watching Rax. He's playing great hockey right now. And boy, wasn't that prophetic. He really is.
Well, you were asking Rusty, someone was asking Raquel, and he said that he figured when he saw their D's pinch, he's like, if Spoons can beat their forecheck, he goes, he knew him and Rusty had a 2-on-1.
Yeah. No, I heard, he did. And that's just smart, It was smart hockey, and They came through when they needed them, and I keep thinking about those two guys. How many people wanted Kyle Dubas to trade those two, even as recently as 6 months ago, certainly a year ago? Worry about the future and get your draft picks. And yeah, the Penguins have been concerning themselves with the future and draft picks and prospects, but they decided to keep those two. And man, are they playing at a high level right now. They are really something to see. And Raquel again playing center last night. Not his natural position, but he's getting better. He's such of a team guy to play that role and to play it as well as he did. Tommy Novak hasn't been very good the last couple of weeks, so they bumped him down the lineup a little bit. But Raquel at center, he was just outstanding. One of the best players on the ice, Joe.
Yeah, Josh, there's so much to talk about with the lineup changes. Yeah. At first, I'm like, what? But, putting the Twin Towers back together, I mean, that was the best Brazeau's played in a long time.
It was. How about the pass he made to Mantha on the breakaway goal?
Oh, my God.
That was an unbelievable play, and I don't know how good Brazeau is, but I know he's really good when he's on the ice with Mantha. Like, those two, we use the word chemistry too much in sports, but those two have it. They really do, and Brazeau might be more of a gifted playmaker than he is a goal scorer. And I don't need to tell anybody that Anthony Mantha is a gifted goal scorer at this point. All he does is score goals. How about those two beauties he scored last night? It was interesting seeing those two together. And I'm so curious to see how the lineup will unfold when healthy. I don't know if Gino Malkin's going to play against the Wings tonight, but I wouldn't be shocked if he does. I've heard he's pretty darn close to returning to the lineup. So I think it's in play that he could be available tonight. Now, for the Twin Towers to be reunited with him, that means Malkin would be playing center again. I don't know if Dan Muse wants to go down that lane, but just look at the options they have, guys. The depth of this forward unit is really something.
For all the good stuff that Kyle Dubas has done, and he's done tons of good stuff, I just think making this team bigger is one of his greatest strengths. Now, you guys know, everyone who's listening knows how I love big shoulders, sweet hands. But, besides having fun, actually, because you knew Mayfield wanted to beat this kid up and turn the tide around.
Yep.
And Elmer just knocked his ass out. Besides fun, just having Brazeau and Mantha out there, they just can't be pushed around like they used to be anywhere.
No, you are so right. I was at the game in Ottawa last week, and a reporter there actually mentioned to me that the Penguins have, I forget what the number was, something like 5 of the 28 6'5" or taller guys in the league, or something along those lines. I forget what this
seems like. It's by design.
Yeah. Oh, of course. I forget what the precise stat was, but it was like, yeah, it's a good point. This is a really big hockey team. And I talked with Elmer after the game because my first thought during that fight was, maybe you don't want to give the Islanders any momentum. That's what they're doing right now. You're up 5-3. Like, I actually thought back to the Max Talbot fight in Philly. I don't know if this is the time to be dropping them. So I brought that up with Elmer, and he said, I had that same thought in my mind, but he said, I've never had an NHL fight before, and I just shoved him in the chest, and he snapped his head back like trying to draw a penalty. And he said, that really angered me, so I thought it's time for me to fight this person. I said, I'm not going to fight you anytime soon. Don't worry. For a guy who's never had an NHL fight, he certainly looked like he knew what he was doing, Joe. Like, he was just having
what I'm going to call right now, Josh? I'm going to say, hey, Boku, you can sign that lease in Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah.
Hey,
you know who loved that on the broadcast.
Oh, I know. I love my Boku. Yeah, it makes interesting roster choices, because I was shocked that there was going to be no Rutger, but then it's Hayes played a really good game.
Yeah.
Happy Hayes. Who comes out?
Well, I've thought for so long that when the Penguins are completely healthy, I've always thought you're going to see Crosby, Raquel, and Rust, and you're going to see Igor, Malkin, and Novak. And you're going to see Kendall with the Twin Towers, and you're going to see Lizotte, Achari, and Dewar. Like that's always what I've assumed.
Right.
But it's true. Like, Elmer's playing really well. He doesn't necessarily deserve being removed from the lineup right now. There's no question about that. I don't know who you would bring out, though. I mean, I can tell you who's playing the poorest of any of those forwards the last few games is Tommy Novak, who's really in a slump right now.
He's in a funk. He's in a funk.
He is, and I do worry about him. And listen, he's had a really good year. But I worry about when the games get tougher, how he's going to handle that down the stretch, and maybe we're seeing that because he's a perimeter player. He's a skill guy. That's okay. That's just who he is. I don't know. They have some really curious decisions, and we won't know for a while because Lizotte is really not scheduled to be ready to play until game 1 of the playoffs, I think. And we don't know when Malkin's coming back, although I think tonight is certainly a possibility. And we don't know if they'll be healthy by the time the playoffs roll around anyway, so we may never find out. But I don't remember the last time the Penguins had this kind of depth. Like, I could be sitting in the press box with Elmer and Rucker McGroarty and Avery Hayes. They're pretty good NHL players.
Those guys would have been second-line players the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great fourth line. I like Lizotte too, and I like Achari, and I like Dewar, but it's hard to keep Elmer out of that lineup right now.
And it might be based on matchups too, So certain teams maybe that don't handle his size as well. If you get in the first round, like the Islanders, if you get them in the first round, Elmer was great against them last night. That's something to consider. Every team's different. What's funny? I tweeted this earlier today, guys. Like, if you look at the standings, Philly's only 2 points behind Columbus and the Islanders, and they are red hot. Columbus
Josh,
and the Islanders
having a good afternoon.
Don't tell me you wouldn't want the Flyers in the first round, Joe. I know you would. And but I was thinking,
I don't like that. I don't like that Martone character whatsoever.
I wouldn't think so. So if they get the Flyers in the first round, maybe you have Boko and Elmer on the fourth line, not mess around. I don't know.
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, that Martone would wish he was taking sewing classes back at Michigan State.
That's right.
Boku knocks his ass out. I would love that. Sorry, Pursuta. No, but I'll tell you one thing I absolutely noticed was I didn't see Billy Kovinen falling on the ground with no one hitting him.
Boy, I'd forgotten about him.
That guy tries to draw penalties from a ghost.
I'd forgotten about him when I mentioned all their depth. I think I went through 15 forwards and I didn't get to him yet. I guess he was number 16, but
Kevin Hayes.
He's been really disappointing. I mean, there's no other way around that. But when you have forward depth like the Penguins have right now, man, not only are they deep with they can go 5 or 6 lines almost, but they can beat you in so many different ways. They've got guys who can really skate, who can play the skill game, and they've got a bunch of 6'5" guys. Even Avery Hayes is such a pest. They haven't really had a guy like that in a while. So I just love the versatility they have up front.
And you know what? And other than and Tommy Novak is not Wendell Clark, but we don't have any soft guys anymore.
No.
We don't have any soft forwards.
I mean, other than Billy.
Well, but Billy's not playing.
Yeah,
I don't see Billy playing for a long time. To be honest with you.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's many soft players on this team in general. Like, we've talked a lot about Letang's struggles, but you're never going to call him a soft player. And he's actually played with
the brain.
Right, but he's played with a nasty edge lately. He has. And I actually thought he was really good last night. That's the best game he's played in ages.
He played he almost took a stupid penalty 1 minute in.
Right. He did want to. I know.
I'll tell you what, though, his Flying Frenchman buddy, though, I know why he got such an ovation in Colorado when he left.
They got rid of him
and he came back. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. He did not look good in that stretch early in the second period when they were giving up 3 goals. But I actually have seen some things with him too. I think we're noticing all the mistakes, and they're a little exaggerated right now because he struggled. But he also made a great pass on, I forget which goal it was because there were so many in the second period. Like, he looks a little more comfortable, and they're kind of getting away with the mistakes those guys are making right now. The good news is Wotherspoon and Carlson are so good together, and Shea and Clifton have really solidified, I think, on the third pairing. I talked with Shea yesterday, and he told me he and Clifton are just really comfortable together. They kind of think the game the same way, I think. And so you got 2 good pairings there. And I think Letang and Girard are playing better than they were a week ago. It's just that there's a long ways to go for them to not still be a concern. They obviously still are. So we will see. But how can you not feel good about the Penguins after that game? My only real concern after that game was the goaltending. I really didn't like Shilov's game at all. And I'm not saying Skinner is Patrick Waugh. He is not, but I'd certainly be more comfortable with him at the moment in a playoff game.
That's one of the things I was going to ask you guys about is where do we go goaltending wise? Because it felt like the Islanders had 3 good scoring opportunities, and all 3 of them ended up in the back of the net. I like Shilov's at times. Skinner's okay. I don't know. And I know Joe, you don't necessarily agree with this. I'm like, I maybe go with the mirror shot. Like, I think it's time. Like, if your best goaltender is down in AHL, what are you doing?
I just think that Larkin and DeBrincat and Kane don't play for Hershey.
It's a very good point. It's a very good point.
I don't know. You waited this long not to throw the kid into the fire. Now you're going to have them come up when they're all must-win games. I don't know. And Stuart Skinner is 3 games away from having 2 Stanley Cups, and Shelovs has a Calder Cup and has the World Championship. So
yeah.
I mean, I think if I don't know, maybe Gerard clears a crease a couple of times or keeps his head up. I don't know. I mean, but then again, last night he did not make the saves where super genius. You're allowed to make a save. And one of those first 3 goals, he could have made a save. He could have.
I will say this about Miroshov. Let me just throw this out there, just as a potential scenario that could unfold. Let's say the Penguins stay hot. Let's say they clinch a playoff spot. Maybe that's Saturday against Washington next week, something like that. And they have a couple of games left on the schedule. They're already in the playoffs. Given that those aren't must-win games at that point, say you've already clinched the 2 seed in the Metro, would you bring Miroshov up and give him a start or 2 just to see how he looks, just in case you might be in a situation where you need him in the playoffs, where you've decided you don't want to go with Shelovs, and just in case Skinner would get hurt or stumble, you play him in St. Louis maybe in the last game just to get him comfortable? I don't know. Just a thought. I mean, these guys have gotten you this far, and I wouldn't necessarily mess with anything at the moment because you're still winning hockey games, but I do have a stat to read to you guys, which I find a little concerning. First 10 games of the year, the Penguins gave up 2.6 goals a game. The games 11 through 20, 2.6. Games 21 through 30, 3.4. Games 31 through 40, 3.6. Games 41 through 50, 2.1. Games 51 through 60, 2.4. So pretty good. The last 14 games 61 through 74, they're giving up 4.7 goals a game.
That's way too many.
May I be a whatever the word would be? Colorado twice, Dallas, Vegas.
I know.
Carolina.
Carolina 3 times. No, I know. So the schedule obviously has played a role. No doubt.
Okay. No,
that's still too many goals.
It's too many goals, and I'm not trying to knock Miroshov before he even gets here. I just think that they need to play better. If having a rookie makes people come back and play harder, or makes Letang and Gerard stay in front of their net, or maybe take a stick, then I'm all for Miroshov. But I don't see. I see when it's Letang and Gerard, they don't get the puck out, which is the number 1 sign of a bad team.
No, it's been a struggle. I also think Blake Lizotte being out of the lineup has killed their penalty killing unit.
I was going to say, especially on the penalty kill.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Lizotte's absence cannot be ignored. The penalty kill is not very good right now. It hasn't been for about 6 or 7 games. So that's a concern. So, yeah, they have their issues, as we know. They have their warts. But they also think only 3 teams in the NHL have more goals than them this season. I think it's just Colorado and Tampa and Buffalo, I think, are the only 3 National Hockey League teams with more goals than the Penguins. And that's when you consider Crosby's missed 11 or 12 games, Malkin's missed a bunch of games, and still they're producing that kind of offense. So they're in a really interesting spot. But boy, after last night, especially, guys, not just that they got the 2 points and they prevented the Islanders from getting them, but just the way they did it. That might have been their most dominant win of the season.
Yeah. I think it was. I want to get back to your point though about the goals given up. I think if our penalty kill is better, that helps. But I think even more so is if less penalties are called against us. I think if we don't get nickel-dimed in the playoffs, we're going to be in better shape.
Yeah.
I mean, to quote the great Bill Raftery, that's a little nickel-dimer.
Yeah, it is getting a little out of control. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist, Josh, but it seemed like the NHL was kind of has something against Dan Muse. Like, I don't know if it's I don't know what's going on, but there's no it's too much of a coincidence. You know what I mean? I observe patterns, and the pattern looks like we're getting screwed lately.
It does. I mean, there's no question it's been an issue, and guys in the locker room have not been happy at all. Sid was barking at the refs after the first shift yesterday. I was watching him on the bench, and he really doesn't do that very often anymore. He was pretty worked up. And you know what's interesting with the refs? I think we always think of, playoff hockey as anything goes. They're not going to call anything. And that's the way it used to be. It's really not as much anymore. They still call quite a bit of penalties in the playoffs, not quite as many, but there still will be special teams. And special teams have been such of a strength for the Penguins most of the season. But the penalty kill is a problem. I'll tell you what else is a problem, Joe, is the power play giving up a goddamn breakaway every single game. And we can't, I often, listen, a lot of the time it is Malkin's fault, but it hasn't been his fault.
Hasn't been there.
He hasn't been playing. One was on Sid. One was on Raquel recently. They just have a lack of awareness on the power play right now. If I was coaching against them, oh my God, I'd be so aggressive on the penalty kill. They are just so cavalier right now. It's got to stop.
Well, I think it's a game plan. I think people were cherry picking against the Penguins consistently.
Barzal was last night. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
I was watching him all night. Yes, very much so.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but there's a general lack of awareness that, it's still a concern.
They are going to call penalties, but I think the nickel dimers won't be called, and it will be kind of evened up unless there really is a conspiracy against damn U's. They seem to even them out in the playoffs more. It's never like six. It's never 6-1. It'll be like 3-1 way. Okay, you're getting one, no matter what.
The Dallas game on Saturday. It was 5-1 in power plays. Carlson gets a stick ripped out of his hands and they score. Nothing called. Then Brazeau gets tripped. Nothing called. By the end of the game, it was still Dallas 5 power plays, Pittsburgh 4. That's just the way these idiots are. The way they're just smart enough and just humble enough to try to even up the penalties a little bit to make it look good. It's all Carlson. It's all part of the referee mindset. It's not a conspiracy. It's just the way they have been bred to think as NHL refs. Got to even it up. Got to keep those power play numbers similar. Got to ref the score. It's just what they do. It drives me nuts. It drives everybody nuts, but it's the way it is.
That's why I think it's key that, Chinakhov is no shrinking violet. Raquel's been nastier this year. The Rusty Razor's the Rusty Razor. Sid Gino, he'll crack you in the skull. I think it's imperative this playoff year to be the aggressor. Brazeau could be an aggressor. Mo will get in there. We have to be the aggressors this year. We can't be the sit back on, well, wait, we'll get a call. We make it a power play. No, we have to take it to people. Make the referees make the call.
Dictate the play to them.
Yes.
Yeah. My theory on referees, if you can't coach, if you can't play, you coach. If you can't coach, you ref. So I'm never a fan of them, but I agree with Joe. I mean, let's be aggressive. And then they have been. And I think when they're not aggressive, it feels like you can tell immediately. And those are usually the games that don't go well for the Penguins when they're sitting back on their heels.
No, I think that's fair. And I also think the Penguins have to be careful not to let the officiating become a distraction, because I've had that sense for a couple of weeks that they're complaining about it internally almost too much. I know they're getting screwed in a lot of games. It's obvious. But you don't want to let that distract you. Just like Carlson, God love him. He's been unreal and we're going to talk about him. But I understand he had the stick knocked out of his hands and it should have been a penalty. You can't just turn to the ref and start swearing at him and just ignore the play for a minute either. Like that, you don't really want to see that. So they've got to try to go back to the old Mike Sullivan philosophy of just play a little bit, even though I know it's driving everybody nuts.
Nothing endears you to a Yinzer's heart, though, than going and ripping the referee a new one in front of the home crowd. So.
You could sure hear him.
Well, I mean, that was just completely egregious, though.
Yes. Oh, it absolutely was.
I don't know if it was clickbait or it was AI or whatever the hell, but there was like did the league issue an official apology on that call, or was that just clickbait?
I don't think they did.
A scam.
No, I don't That must have been clickbait, Joe, because I didn't see that. That's not really like the league to ever do that. So
no, I wouldn't think so either. It's not the NFL. Oh yeah, you got screwed. Too bad.
and the NHL is the one league, and that's just because of my line of work. It drives me nuts. It's the one league that will never make its officials available to the media. Not that these guys do interviews all the time, but if there's a controversial play in an NFL game, like we're allowed to send a pool reporter and they'll go ask questions to the ref and they'll give you an answer at least. And other sports do that too. Hockey is the one, forget about it. They don't let those guys say a word, and they have, the way NHL refs have conducted themselves over the years, it'd be nice to actually be able to question them a little bit, but we never ever get that chance.
Nah, you'll never find a more arrogant group of people.
No.
So, I want to touch on. We touched on him a little bit, but Avery Hayes. Obviously, his first game, 2 goals, and you're like, oh my god, this is the guy. And then he kind of faded, fizzled out a little bit. But I think I saw Mark Madden pointed out, and it's exactly what I think a lot of us are feeling. He's like the thorn. He can be the thorn in the other team's side, the little like spark plug that we haven't had in forever. What do you think it's going to take? Do you guys think it's going to take to get Avery Hayes into that position where he's just agitating, and then he chips in a goal here and there?
Well,
go ahead, Josh.
Do you mean like in terms of him being a regular in the lineup?
Yeah, a regular contributor that's just pissing off the other team.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think it'll happen organically. Like I don't know that he's in the lineup if they're completely healthy right now. I don't know that he is, but if he keeps playing the way he is on this trajectory, I bet you he's in the opening night lineup next season. Like they really like him. He's undersized, but they like everything else about him. He draws penalties. He irritates people. He's physical. He fights. He can score goals, as we've seen at the NHL level and in Wilkes-Barre. So I think he has the future of an NHL regular. He's just kind of getting his feet wet. We talk about all these forwards they have. It's it's not easy cracking this lineup right now.
Yeah, that's my thought. I think if you go by the chalk, everyone's presumed top 12 or when it lines up. I think he's 14. I think Elmer gets a sweater before Avery Hayes, and then McGroarty's 15.
Yeah, I think that's probably it.
But if you score, you get to stay in. I mean, I've been a terrific Tommy Novak fan all season. He's slipping. You throw things around a little bit. You see, maybe Hayes gets in there.
Well,
but if it was up to me, and you don't want to play Tommy, I would go Elmer first.
And it is interesting just thinking about the lineup and the different lines that we saw last night. If they're comfortable enough with Raquel at center, that's not necessarily a good thing for Novak moving forward. That gets your attention a little bit. And we saw really for the first time a glimpse of Crosby with Chinikov together. They didn't play together all night. The lines were all over the place, but they played together some. They were okay. They had like a 2-on-none in the first period. Sid hit the crossbar. I'd like to see a little more of them at some point. I'm kind of curious to see when you consider the goal scoring acumen that Chinikov has and the playmaking acumen that Crosby has. I would think there might be something there. So it's kind of cool just to see them on the same line, but they have all these different combinations they can go back to. I wouldn't want to game plan for the Penguins forwards right now in a playoff series. That would be tough because they can beat you so many different ways and they can change things up and that certainly can make an impact as well.
Especially with Lizotte, I don't want to see Gino playing center anymore. I thought he played really well on wing, and his defenses or lack of defense was not really noticeable on the wing.
I wouldn't mind it. If you're in a playoff game and you're down 4-2 at the end of the second period, and when the other team's in a defensive posture, I wouldn't be against it just to see him back with the Twin Towers a little bit because that line was so great in the first half of the season. So you always have that in your back pocket if you're maybe in come from behind mode. But yeah, I know what you mean. Gino has actually shifted over to wing much more seamlessly than I thought he would. He's handled it quite well. And I still would probably go back to the Gino Novak Chinikov line because they've always looked great together. I mean, the only thing that has stopped their momentum is Malkin's health. We know from what we've seen
and his temper.
Yeah, well, right. Like we know that line works. We know if that's your second line, man. The way those guys can function, that's a pretty scary look. But they have countless options, no question.
Yeah. And then the Pens rarely lose in regulation, and I saw this. I think it was Bob Grove put it out that they've only lost twice in regulation with the division in the division. They rarely lose in regulation, period. But to own like in this gauntlet of a division, and I think Josh, you even mentioned something about this on Twitter. What does that say about this team and our chances? Honestly, like the way I look at it is like, hey, can we make the Eastern Conference Final and get out of the Metro in the playoffs? Well, hey, there's no shootouts in the playoffs. That's good news. There's no 3-on-3 in the playoffs. That's good news. And we only lost twice to our division foes in regulation. To me, that bodes well for their first two rounds.
And it's Freddie Anderson and regular season Rod.
Absolutely.
Well, it's not postseason Rod.
Nope.
It's regular season Rod.
That's
Do
true.
another chin up, Rod.
That's the one team in the division that has outplayed them when they've played. I understand the Penguins took them to overtime twice in Raleigh, but they were not the better team in those games. And then Carolina
They smoked them at home, though. They smoked them in December.
Oh, they also got smoked by them last week too. So,
right.
But given Carolina's history in the playoffs, like that's not a coincidence why they can't win in the playoffs. It's because they don't change what they do. And the more you face their unique system, then when you see it every other night for 2 weeks, you get more comfortable with it and you start to handle it better. I do think they could beat Carolina in a playoff series, but they wouldn't have to worry about that until the second round. The first round, it's assuming they come in either second or third in the Metro, Columbus or the Islanders or Philly. I like the Penguins certainly against Philly and the Islanders. And Columbus's level of play has cooled off a little bit. The Penguins certainly could beat them in a series. So, yeah, all of a sudden, the way things are starting to unfold, and if the Penguins can get healthy and just stop giving up so many goals, just settle down a little bit on the penalty kill, sure, they could win a round. Sure, they could win a couple of rounds. Why not? You're right. That's a big deal that they don't lose games in regulation. That tells me that they're not really overmatched by anyone they play against. They've got a puncher's chance against anyone as far as I'm concerned.
I think the scariest scenario is Jet Greaves and the King, Elvis Merzlikins. I think that's the scariest scenario because I'm not going to say anything about the creamsicles because they'll come back to haunt me. Obviously, the Islanders and gun to your head, Skinner or Freddie Anderson.
I take Skinner.
Yeah, everybody would. Brindamore would.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
No, that's Carolina's flaw. I mean, they don't have a goalie. They're a good team, but they have a history of playoff failure, and they don't have a goalie.
And if we roll the lines, if we can play even up and don't give them a chance to run their trap and put everyone to sleep on ESPN2, we have more depth than them. I'll take our line over a Martinook line any day of the week.
No, I agree. And who knows? Like, what if the Penguins get the Islanders in the first round? Who's to say Columbus wouldn't beat Carolina in the first round? If they could, then you might not even have to play Carolina. Like a lot of things are at play. I never assume Carolina is going to just roll over anybody in a series, however. And all these teams are really evenly matched. I mean, look at the standings. I think the standings don't lie. These teams are all really close, and that's one of the things that makes especially the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs so great. You have a bunch of evenly matched teams that have all their energy going into the playoffs. Like the first round's always incredible, and I suspect that will be the case here in a couple of weeks. And I think there's not one team that the Penguins could play in the first round that I would say, "Ooh, you want to avoid that team." Now, you don't want to fall into a wild card spot and get like Tampa in the first round. That's a different ball game. It could be Buffalo too. I'd like their chances against Buffalo more than Tampa, but you don't really want to play either of those teams in the first round.
Now stay in the Metro and then if you have to play one of them, it's in the Eastern Conference Final. That's where I want to see them. And
don't want to face Coop.
No, not at all.
In the
Nor
snake.
should you.
Yeah.
You want somebody to upset them in the first two rounds, then you don't have to worry about it.
I'll take my chances trucking up to Buffalo, and we'll see what Tuck and 72 are really all about. And they still got to stare down the barrel of Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin and 50 years of ineptitude.
Yeah, I mean you can underscore the fact. I mean, remember how great the Penguins were in 2007, leading up to the 2 cup runs, and they show up to the playoffs for the first time. And God, that first period, the first 10 minutes of that game in Ottawa was like the most miserable experience as a Penguin fan. It just everything went wrong.
Yes.
You know what changed all that though? Chris Kunitz the following year.
Yes.
Changed everything. First shift, just bury people. That's one of my favorite things in life is the first shift of a playoff series.
Yeah.
Who's setting the tone?
You learn
Who
a
was
lot.
going to set the tone?
That's right.
You know, it was one of my that was one of my favorite games. Game 1, Gary Roberts in the runway yelling out. Remember when he was getting thrown out of the game? I mean, after he
Staggy's line and Staggy say, "There goes Gary Roberts back to his cage."
It was just so good.
But just against the Flyers when Kunitz went down there and just put Timonen out for the series on just a clean hit, just ran him through the wall.
One of my favorite hits ever.
Cooney.
Yeah, and then
that's all we need was Chris Cooney.
I'd be remiss if we got to the looking ahead segment before mentioning Sidney Crosby. It was unbelievably, as you pointed out in your article, Josh, kind of quietly got his 1100th assist last night on the 8th goal. Let's just talk about all the things that he's done. I mean, 1100 assists. How many people have done that? What we're talking less than a handful. 8 games left in it to score 4 points, and he'll have a point per game average again. And then, hey, don't look now, but 2 points, and he can catch Stevie Y. And we're playing the Red Wings tonight. So I don't know. Maybe it could happen tonight. Let's just a little tip of the cap again to Sidney Crosby and everything that he's accomplished.
Yeah, absolutely. As if Stevie Y doesn't have enough to worry about right now. He's going to get passed right in person tonight, perhaps. It's funny. Sid got his 1100th assist on the Brian Rust goal at the end of the third period. And I had so much going on because it was a crazy game. And I go to the locker room and I talk with Rusty and Raquel and Elmer. And I noticed Sid was sitting there for a couple minutes and nobody talked to him. And then he went to the showers. And I saw him walking to the team bus. I said, "Oh God, I feel like such of an asshole. I forgot to ask you about your 1100th assist." And he just laughed. He said, "Oh, it's okay." And I said, "Well," I said, "Congratulations. That's no small feat. It's not 1100 assists. Let's consider. I know he's over 650 goals for good measure and still going strong. And I thought he was pretty good last night. Really good in the first period. He came out strong. I think he's healthy enough to go now. Clearly, don't be shocked if he starts to heat up either. I think it's only a matter of time."
And he also passed Marcel Dion and Marc Messier. He's in third place for multi-point games. He's about 26 behind Yags, and then 99 is uncatchable.
Yeah, but I mean, seriously, if it's Wayne Gretzky, Jaromir Jagr, Sidney Crosby, that's a pretty good list. So it's incredible to see. It's just unbelievable. Well, we're gonna look ahead here next. I want to talk about what happened up in Toronto. It's a little Penguin related and unrelated to the Penguins, but I think that's kind of funny. I also have a listener question, so don't let me forget to throw that in there for the looking ahead. But Mr. Bill Neofis last night, was he playing a block pole in that game? Because that had to have been. It was like a football game, like Joe said on DV this morning, a touchdown, 2-point conversion, and then a field goal. So who had 8 and 3 in the Neofis insurance pool?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know, but I know the Islanders are one of the teams that Bill particularly dislikes. So he was very much pleased with the result last night, I assure you. And for those who are new listeners or viewers to the show, one of our sponsors, and in fact, our very first sponsor ever, the Neofis Insurance Group. They are the greatest insurance people in Pittsburgh, without question. They've been doing it since 1960. They're located in the North Hills. You can give them a call anytime. Whatever your insurance needs are, I don't care if it's home insurance, renter's insurance, car insurance, pet insurance, you name it. Any insurance you can think of, they will set you up. They will get you a great deal, and they will make you feel comfortable the whole time. I'm going to give you Bill's phone number. Give Bill or his staff a call. They're the friendliest people on earth. They're big hockey fans too, which always helps. 412-364-3388. I'll give it to you one more time. 412-364-3388. It's a family-run business since 1960 in Pittsburgh. They take care of Pittsburghers. They do it the right way, so give our man Bill a call.
Yes, thank you, Bill. Thank you, Bill. And, I'm sure he was kind of smiling to see this news come across during the game last night. Hi, Toronto fans. us here in Pittsburgh can no longer be blamed for all your problems. Kyle Dubas is vindicated as if he needed that. Brad Treliving is gonzo. So are they going to somehow blame every move that he made on Kyle Dubas, or how does this work now? I don't know what it's like to speak loser. So, but not to be critical, but he kind of was over. I saw a list of all his trades, and I don't think he won one of them.
I've been on record for years saying Treliving is a terrible GM. He absolutely burned down the Calgary Flames. Play on words here. I don't know how you lose Kachuk and Bennett, get Huberdeau for way too much money, and somehow pretend you're a good GM. And then he went to Toronto, let Marner walk, traded. He lost. He lost the kid playing great in Boston, and a first-round pick for Carlo. I have as much mobility as Carlo.
No, Brad Treliving stinks as a general manager. We take a lot of time making fun of Stan Bowman, and justifiably so, and Peter Chiarelli is another awful one. But I mean, Treliving's never really been successful anywhere he's been. And I look at the Leafs now. First of all, even though I think he stinks, I also think it's Bush League to fire him with 9 games left in the season. Like, well, what's the point? Like, I didn't like that move at all. You can wait until after the season to do that, I would think.
Because they have to get another lucky, but at least this guy's lucky. Armstrong, he stinks too. Oh, he got so lucky that Bennington stood on his head for 4 months. And the Chief got people to play. He tried to wave Maroon. Where would he be if he had to wave Maroon?
No, you're right. I wonder, looking ahead now, like, what's Toronto going to do? I mean, the core doesn't work. Does Austin Matthews still want to be there? Does Willie Nylander want to be there?
He's coming to Pittsburgh. He loves Dubas.
Well, I think they do have a good relationship, and I think the Penguins would certainly be equipped to make such a deal. Both financially and with the number of picks that they have at their disposal. Yeah, I mean, the Penguins would be on the short list if Austin Matthews wants out. I don't think there's any question about that. So that is something to consider. But I look at the Leafs right now, like, what a mess that team is. They took Florida to a Game 7 last year. I think that was in the second round, right? They were one win away from being in the conference final. Now look at them. Man,
Berube said it best. He goes, "You can fire me, but it's not going to get any better until you change everybody on this team."
Yeah,
I mean, he traded Bobby McMahon for a ham sandwich. All Bobby McMahon is doing is scoring in Seattle. That's damn near impossible.
Oh, he's a good player. I mean, I
know he literally like dumped him, but then he didn't dump the other guys. How do you not lose Oliver Ekman-Larsson for a draft pick? How do you keep him around? Right. He's pretty good. I mean, how can you say no one wanted him?
Because they don't know what they're doing.
And Josh, how do you not fire him before the trade deadline?
Right. And exactly. And I suspect Berube will be the next to go. No GM's going to want to take a job without having his own coach in place. They're a laughing stock right now. And I'll tell you who looks pretty good right now is Kyle Dubas. He obviously knows what he's doing. For all the shit he took in Toronto and still does. Anytime I write about the man in an article, my comment section gets blown up by Toronto fans having nasty things to say about him. They've been a little quiet the last couple of months, though. I think for good reason.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny you say that, Joe. I think you should speak that into existence, Austin Matthews to Pittsburgh, because so much of it makes sense. And doesn't it? It sounds familiar. A Toronto star coming to Pittsburgh and having instant success, winning Stanley Cups.
All the money is opening up. He wouldn't have to wear the C. He can just wear a letter. Just go about his business. Go up to Mount Washington. Have a nice place in Mount Washington.
Score goals.
Just keep scoring goals.
Yeah. Oh, I'm at the front of that line. Let's get that started. Another interesting thing,
and Berube behind the bench, could be an assistant coach. We have to worry about music and not have any respect.
Yeah, there we go.
We'll put the Chief back there.
I like it.
I love it. And then also, this one was just so bizarre. This is NHL as a whole, but Vegas firing Bruce Cassidy and hiring the same Bruce Cassidy again, essentially, and John Tortorella. Like, what in the world was that all about? And it's not like, I mean, Vegas isn't, what Vegas has been, and I understand Bruce Cassidy kind of wears people thin and kind of has a short shelf life, but at this point in the season, it's kind of bizarre to me, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Barbecue Bruce didn't answer his phone. That seemed like the perfect Barbecue Bruce spot. Make everybody feel good. Let Eichel and Marner get on a run. I don't know why they got Tortorella. I mean, he's going to get along with Marner? Are you kidding me? He's going to get along with Eichel? Are you kidding me? I feel bad for Stone. I feel bad for Marner. I don't feel bad for the fans or the organization though, because F the Vegas Golden Knights.
Well, they've certainly had a lot of things handed to them, and they kind of operate in that same fashion. There's kind of almost a spoiled feel to them, like they're entitled to win the cup every year. And I think Cassidy's a really good coach. I've never had one guy who's played for him who's had a bad word to say about Cassidy. Everybody thinks he's a good coach. Maybe he wears out his welcome after a while. Well, boy, nobody does that more than Torts, incidentally.
Yeah, I know.
Now, that said, I'm an unabashed Torts fan. I find him wildly entertaining. He's a great villain. Sports needs villains. I don't know how this is going to go. And they only signed him for the rest of the year, which is really bizarre. If they, lose to Edmonton in the first round, I don't know that they're going to bring Torts back. Maybe they'll just have an organizational reset at that point. I think we can agree Vegas has been disappointing this season for the talent that they have. Like, they should be better than they are. I don't know that that's the coach's fault, but this is a very strange move.
Well, their goaltending has been awful. It's almost like Jari's played there all year. No, I mean, really, their goaltending is like 32nd or 31st in the league. I think they need to change some things around. But, I just, man, Tortorella, I don't understand how you could make him the coach.
Like, weird choice.
If you went from a guy that everyone got worn out on, you're going to bring in Tortorella?
No, you're right. And it's funny. A lot of guys do like playing for Tortorella more than you might think, but never the stars.
They're called third liners.
But right,
they're not
never
called
the
Mitch
stars.
Marner.
I can't imagine Marner and Eichel are going to be big fans of him. Stone won't mind him, but those two, I would certainly have my concerns. It's just been kind of a lost season for them. They're only going to make the playoffs because their division is so god awful. And by the way, guys, I know they're a mess and their goaltending is what it is, and Leon's hurt. I still wouldn't be shocked if Edmonton won the first two rounds in the playoffs just because they're in that division. It wouldn't shock me if they beat Anaheim or Vegas in a playoff series. I kind of think they might. Now, I don't give them a chance in hell at beating Colorado or Dallas or even Minnesota probably. But it's going to be a weird postseason because that division's so bad.
Yeah, and it seems like Cutter or Uncle Leo are both hurt.
Yeah,
as of last night, which is no good.
And
the Duckies.
I love the Ducks. They're one of my favorite teams to watch, but I don't know that they're ready to win in the playoffs yet.
They're must-see TV. I think they might be able to outscore a few teams.
Maybe.
So I can see them here. And I think they're a better team than the Kings were last year.
Yeah.
And they have an infinitely better coach than the Kings had last year.
Yeah.
So I think they can beat Edmonton.
Maybe. I'd like to see the series. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? Every game would be 7-6 for Christ's sake. I mean, it'd be good stuff.
Nice pillow fight.
Goaltending optional. And then, I got a user question or a listener user. Wrong business I'm thinking about at the moment. Listener question here talk about thinking ahead. Do we think Mantha is a realistic extension candidate, or they let him get paid elsewhere? That's from Jason on YouTube. And that's honestly my thought last night. I'm thinking back up the Brinks truck. We've got the space in the cap space coming this summer. I don't know how you let him walk, because it might have been Bob Grove that put this out. He has 29 goals in his first season as a Penguin. And the only people that have more in the last 25 years in their first season as Penguins is Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin.
He leads the league in new team scoring by like 3 goals.
Yeah.
As far as community team, I said this morning on the radio. I think he will be re-signed. But he has to, not a hometown discount. He has to have a hometown years discount. They're not going to give him 8 years. They may give him 4.
That's a good point.
It's to the point where they almost have to bring him back, I think. I mean, he has become so valuable. Clearly, it's a good fit in Pittsburgh. I know you don't want to. There's a part of me that says you don't want to give him too much because he does have a history of being a little bit of a roller coaster in his career. There have been times when he goes through down years, and those can be frustrating with him. But he's going to score over 30 goals. And the market is not good this summer. You got pretty much him and Alex Tucker, the only really attractive forward free agents. Maybe he'll take a little less to stay just because he seems to like it here and he's had so much success. I don't know. But what else are you going to do with all that money if you're the Penguins? You've got, what, $45 million in cap space? Yeah, you got a couple of other guys to sign. Yeah, you want to take some big swings maybe in a trade this summer. That's fine, but you might as well bring Mantha back. He is a huge part of this team, and almost all those goals guys are even strength. These aren't tap-ins on the power play. Nothing against those, but I mean, he is just creating so much 5-on-5 offense.
At this point, a down year would be 22 goals,
right? And you would take that. That's fine.
And he might be in the best shape of his life. And what really impressed me was in October or November, somebody either ran Kindle or Chinnikov, and Mantha went right over there and gave the guy a beating. And if you're going to be 6'5", you got to do that, and he did.
Yep, he's not against doing it
like they did in Toronto.
He almost took out Taylor Hall last week when he was taking dives. Like he brings just enough of that element. And I'll tell you what, he's a really good teammate. It's been made pretty clear to me that he's been very well received in that locker room. He's a good guy. He's fit in well. If I'm Kyle, I'm trying to bring him back. I don't want to get ripped off. I don't want to give an outrageous amount of money up, but 30 goals is 30 goals.
I mean, can we admit this is the first time, and you're there, so you you always tell it like it is, since Sullivan still had the new car smell on him. This is the first time that the team has been together as a real team. In years.
It is.
They're playing like a team.
It is so evident. I was talking with some people in the organization this morning, and I said, God, this is the most likable team you guys have had since the Cup years. And they very emphatically agreed. I said, there's just a special group of guys, and you can tell how close they are and how bonded this team has become during the season. And yeah, it's from the 39-year-old to the 18-year-old. Like they are all on the same page right now. And by the way, now that I brought him up real quick, how good was Ben Kindle last night? My God. Talk about as if he doesn't do enough good things already. He tends to elevate his game in the big games. That's a really nice trait to have. I was blown away by how good he was last night.
How about him just yagging the puck on the penalty kill for 25 seconds?
Yep. Oh, that was great. Yeah.
I mean, just a huge brain in that little kid's body. I mean, he's a little kid. I love that guy.
I was talking with a couple of New York reporters. They were asking me about him. And I said, the Penguins play kind of a chaotic brand of hockey by nature. It's just in the organization's DNA. I said every time that kid, the 18-year-old, gets the puck, like things just settle down. Like he has more poise than anyone on the ice other than Crosby, maybe. Like it's really something to see.
Yeah. I was talking with some hockey people about it. A lot of kids, like youth hockey. Oh, you get the best shot, get the best this. It's like, I'm telling you, you have the hockey IQ like him or like a Jake Gensel. And the awareness and the vision. It's like that's what every scout and coach is going to be like. I want that guy because he can get plugged in right away. The physical attributes will catch up. Mm-hmm. Ben Kindle, he's just been phenomenal to watch, and I love watching him play. Real quick, too, before we get into the Around Town segment, the Macklin Celebrini gets 100 points last night. By the way, somebody pointed out on Twitter, Carey Price's first teammate to ever score 100 points. Because Carey Price's contract's technically there. But
oh my God, talk about overrated.
Yeah,
in my opinion, I saw a list where he was rated higher than Vasilevsky as an all-time goaltender.
No, not even close.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I looked it up whenever I saw that tweet, and I was like, oh my God, Montreal has not had 100-point score since 1986. 40 years without a 100-point score for the Montreal Canadiens.
But got to change this year, right? With Cole Caulfield, he's got like 50 goals.
I don't know. Yeah, I didn't look. Yeah, but Macklin Celebrini. Here's the teenagers in NHL history to record 100 points in a single season. It'll be Wayne Gretzky, Dale Hawerchuk, Mario Lemieux, Jimmy Carson, the old king, and Sidney Crosby, and now Macklin Celebrini.
Well,
Sid did it twice, by the way, but yes.
Yeah,
I said this stat last year. Only 2 teenagers have ever gone over a point a game on the road. Celebrini and Gretzky. He's done it 2 years in a row. Well, I said this every year. I said this for a month. He won the puck battle percentage last year over everybody. That includes Barkov, the Rat, Sid, McKinnon, Jesus, everybody. To me, in 50 years, it's going to be Crosby and then Celebrini. And Jesus is going to be an afterthought. He's going to will this team into the playoffs.
And by the way, just because the hockey fan in me likes watching high-scoring, entertaining hockey, we're Pittsburghers. We don't like 2-1 hockey games, right? So looking at the Western standings right now, San Jose is only 2 points behind Nashville for the last wild card spot, and San Jose has 2 games in hand on them. They could get in, which would potentially give us Colorado, San Jose in the first round. San Jose would not win that series, but oh my God, would that be entertaining? I mean, you talk about betting the over before it even begins. I think we can all be all over that one. That would be phenomenal hockey. And Celebrini, I think he's the guy who will replace McDavid as who's considered the best player in the world at some point. I think we can identify him at this point.
Yeah.
Now, I know Askarov got dinged last night. He left the game. I don't know if he came back or not. I had to do morning radio. I went to bed.
I don't know. Cal McCarr got hurt last night too.
Yeah.
Something to, I don't know how serious that was, but something to keep in mind also. But
it was serious enough
what's that?
I was gonna say it was serious enough to subdue their 9-2 victory post game show I was watching.
Well,
Yes.
I'll tell you what though. Someone made a point. I think on XM Radio this morning that a lot of incidental, or you wouldn't say the biggest hits, or what you would consider, oh my God, how do you get hurt from that? I'll take Crosby in that in my car. It's almost like just the wear and tear in too many games, and the compressed schedule is making just the littlest bumps turn into bad news.
No, it's a good point. And you mentioned that compressed schedule. It does have me wondering about the playoffs. Now, I know 20 minutes ago I said the first round of the playoffs are always this incredible spectacle because everyone has their energy. But I wonder if that will be the case this season. Like, how many teams are just killing themselves just to make the playoffs, given how close the standings are right now? I don't know how that will unfold in the playoffs or if that will mean anything at all. We've never seen a race quite like this where, other than 3 or 4 teams around the league, nobody's safe right now in terms of being in the playoffs. Like, this is highly unusual for about to be April.
Yeah. It's the standings. Every time I look at it, I can't believe how tight it is everywhere. I mean, it's more competitive than usual. We're gonna get around town because we went around town was the Lemieux Fantasy Camp, and Josh, you were there attending, and then Joe was performing and got the I want to hear the news about what it was like hanging out with NHL royalty. But
there was a lot of royalty down there. We got the Lord's work, and we got to talk about Danny's Pizza and Hoagies as well. Yeah, not too many people did the Lord's work this week. In fact, even Dallas, the Dallas Stars took a knee against the Creamsicles. Just the Creamsicles. I had to go back to last Tuesday night when Columbus, our little brother, did the work for us. Now they're getting Martone. I'll tell you, when it was 3-1 and I saw Martone holding up a flyer jersey, I wanted to puke. Like, this could have been the worst hockey day in 30 years. But neither as a way, tap of the stick to the Blue Jackets. Let's keep them at bay, the Creamsicles. And very happy and proud that our sponsors, Danny's Pizza and Hoagies, 5159 Library Road, Bethel Park, PA. Right before you get to South Park, the number is 412-833-7788. And a friend of mine, a loyal listener, said that just a friend of mine, though, but he listens. He said his brother listened to our show and he was playing golf out in South Park and goes, I got to stop at Danny's Hoagies. That's all I hear about from Bartnick. He stopped. He said 10 out of 10, beyond impressed. He got the Bartnick. He got the Italians. He got the Italian special and some square cuts. He said incredible. I'm not making up, folks. The best hoagie, the best square cut around, and they have the hot honey pizza. Their pepperoni They had a little paper that has a little can
Uh,
hold the little grease in there.
yeah, the little bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And the other new thing on the menu that's only jacking my cholesterol is they have their new steak and cheddar, which is oh my God, Josh. It's so good. And of course, I think Alex is closed on Tuesday just so you can go to every Tuesday hockey game the Penguins have. I think that's why they do it.
That's smart.
They're not open Monday and Tuesday, so I will be there this Thursday. So maybe you might bump into me, but they're always up to talk hockey. Coolest staff, nicest people, and the best damn hoagies and the best damn pizza.
Yes, it is.
You got to go, especially now it's getting summery. You go to the park, stop and get a couple sandwiches, a couple slices, or get a big round pizza. And do yourself a favor and tell them that Joe, Josh, and Corey sent you, and they'll come on and hopefully get them for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's right. And I will be in Tampa on Thursday. But Joe, Thursday is my birthday, so if you would please have a hoagie for me at Danny's on Thursday for my birthday, I would appreciate it. And I will make my return to Danny's very soon, I assure you.
And you're not even stupid. I still have your new Danny swag merchandise in my car.
Ooh. Yeah.
The nice new special collector's edition shirts.
I do need that.
Yeah, they are sweet. But yeah, I'd say hi to Alex. Get your best damn hoagies and best damn pizza. Danny's Hoagies and Pizza. Call ahead. You're going to stream in and then hit the park. 412-833-7788.
Thank you, Alex and crew out at Danny's Pizza and Hoagies. We appreciate you. And so Joe, you got to do the gig of all gigs. I mean, I'd imagine for a Penguin fan who is a comedian, doing comedy for Mario Lemieux has to be near the top of the list.
Yeah, before this week, now I have the four best moments of my comedy career. It used to be, it was the Garden when I filmed my special in Chicago, and both sets went great, and then the Lemieux benefit. But this year, and Josh was there, he can attest, they had the stage set up all in one direction, and it'd be like bad seating. It would be like you were watching the game in Brooklyn. There'd be a car over there and a stage in the middle. But Steve Byrne came in and was just like, flip everything around. And the staff at the Cambry Hotel and Nancy Angus's people, Nancy Angus, the best, she runs me for this. They did it. They flipped the whole stage around. So I had one more drink. Unbeknownst to me, when they flipped the stage around, that meant that right from me to you in the front row was Mario, Recchi, Stevens, and Domi.
Oh.
And I just walked over like, oh, hey, big guy right there. And so I just got to talk to Recchi from stage. And I always tell him he's my grandma's favorite. And he remembered me from last time. And big guy loved the show. And then Byrne went up, he killed. And then Ian Bag killed. And Josh was there. It wasn't a ridiculously cool show.
It really was. I snuck my way in, and it was fantastic. Max Talbot was there. Former NHL All-Star Bernie Nichols was there.
Bernie didn't come up. He tried to get me into like a Ponzi scheme or one of his enterprises like a decade ago. He came on puck off. I'm like, Bernie, I don't have any money. I don't know who you're trying to talk
But
to.
the best for Joe, it was actually during Joe's set, and everybody was enjoying it, of course. And I looked to my right, and laughing his ass off during Joe's set was one Mike Ruzioni. And I'm like,
yes.
Oh, I know Joe's going to appreciate that one. Not only a USA hockey legend, but a true Italian. I mean, this is perfect.
It didn't get any better than that. So that night you get to hang with Talbot and Barnaby started following me on Twitter, or not Twitter, on Instagram. Yeah.
He was having fun,
Matthew,
I can tell, if you know what I mean.
Real Matthew, buddy. He was great. And then hanging with Wrecking Ball. Recchi said, just talk to Josh. I'll come on anytime. Of course, we now know he's a creamsicle. He's back working for Talkit. We were laughing about it. I said, yeah, I love Ricky. And then, but now I turned my back on him. But anyway, the next day, got to hang with Pierre LaRouche for a long time. He's the best.
Yes.
And I got to see St. Stephen's. I love Artie. We were having some good laughs. And then the big thrill was I was hanging out behind the bench, the fantasy camp. I hear someone come up behind me and go, when you got their first shift, big guy, and I turned around and it was number 66. So it doesn't get better than that. Just a thrill. The only guy I didn't get to hang out with was Bugsy. I wanted to see Bugsy, but he was working TV, and then he was getting ready for his game, so I didn't want to bother.
What a list
Bugsy.
of characters! My God.
And Larry Murphy. We're talking
Murph.
Detroit hockey for
Yep.
Murph was hanging.
Oh,
Gotta
yeah.
love Larry Murphy. It really was. There, no offense, but there was no Frankie LaRue's around. I mean, it was the big time.
No, and I also honestly I love getting to meet the people who go to the Lemieux event. Listen, if I had that kind of money that I could just, I got an extra 10 grand, I'm going to go skate with Mario. And like, I would do that for sure. So I totally get it. They're like the nicest bunch of guys. So it's always fun getting to know some of those guys as well. It's just an unbelievable event. And that money, so much money is, raised for charity and the Cancer Foundation and that Mario works with. It's a great event. It's always one of my favorite weeks of the year when those guys are all in town. Just saw Trotz, Brian Chartier walking around the arena talking with the big guy, and it's just it's great to see all those people.
I missed Trotz this time. I missed him. He was he maybe had a few too many, but I missed hanging out with him. But I did have my own personal sit down with Eruzione though.
Oh, he's a great guy. Yeah.
He was shocked by that. And I go to the beach where he grew up at. He goes, Revere Beach, best beach in the world. But it's Mike Eruzione. I mean, are you kidding me? Yeah. I'm hanging out with Mike Eruzione and Lemieux. I mean, I think what did you say? You came up and after I say isn't this just a tremendous day? it really was fast. And I will say, if you do have the money, you get treated like a king. If you're one of those campers.
Yes.
And it's not like, Lemieux and Recchi, they come in and they pat someone on the back and they're in the private box somewhere. Those guys are hanging out with all the fellas and you're really living like an NHLer.
And, all of those guys, and I've had the privilege of getting to know so many of them, from Mario to Kevin Stevens, Mark Recchi. They are the most down-to-earth, likable people. They really are. And I think those fantasy campers who get to hang out with them for that week, they will tell you, man, just what you said, Joe, these guys are great. They're just hanging out, having a drink with us. They're not big time in anybody.
No,
that's the way it is.
I feel like that's the only type of people that Mario's going to hang out with, is people that don't big time other people.
That's right.
I mean, if you're going to a Mario event, and I actually was reminded of it too, just with the fantasy camp going on. And, those of you who listen to the show know that my son had some stuff at Children's last year, and we were there yesterday for just, thankfully, a checkup, follow-up appointment. And I'm walking by and, you see the Lemieux, the Austin's Playroom on every floor. And it's like the money that you raise for the Mario Lemieux Foundation goes so far, and it affects families that aren't just from Pittsburgh. It's people that come to Pittsburgh for things that they get the Pittsburgh hospitality just because of your money. So, I kind of told my wife, I said, hey, I know Joe's there. I know Josh is there. I said, I think next year we're not taking the kids to Disney. I think I'm doing fantasy camp next year because that sounds like a good time. And I did do a charity game one time against the Penn's alum, and Trottier came in our locker room, beforehand, and everybody goes, "Hey, we want to hear about the TFer line from the against Bellows, Brian Bellows." And he goes, "Oh God," he's like, in 1991, I had no idea that YouTube was going to exist and that was going to get played into infamy. But I mean, good guy. And I did get I told myself, I'm taking one face off against you. I just got to say, I took a face off against the Hall of Famer, and they're just great guys.
Trotz told me a couple years ago, he said, I was just in the airport last week and I ran into, he's at a flight out of Minnesota, and I ran into Brian Bellows. He says, Bellows walked up to me, he said, Trotz, YouTube has made us famous again.
I know what, and I would be remiss if I forgot. You know who else is a class act? I've met him a couple times at these events. Randy Hillier.
Oh, yes.
Just one of the absolute nicest people.
He really is.
Still in good shape, too.
Looks
amazingly.
Great. I run into him in the grocery store all the time. He lives here in the South Hills. Just a classy guy. Oh God, a huge Randy.
Yeah, really. Just carries himself so. And Pierre's the best.
Oh
yeah.
Hey, man, lucky Pierre. I still got to write an article on Pierre about win a date with Pierre in the 70s, which for the young people watching who don't know, Pierre LaRoche played in the 70s, and the Penguins weren't drawing many tickets at the time. He's a good-looking young guy. So they had a little promotion called Win a Date with Pierre, and you could actually win a date and go out with Pierre. And I think some of those dates got a little wild. So I've always wanted to write an article about that.
He was telling me about when he played there, they would open the roof up for concerts.
Yeah,
and how they just partied. Like, and they're like, who are these guys? And they're like, oh, they're Penguins up there.
That's
Pierre,
awesome.
You can't beat Pierre. You can't beat Mario. And Nancy Angus, you guys know Nancy, just runs that organization. They even sent Katie Strange in, and they couldn't find any dirt. So it's not like, oh, you're giving money to somebody and Mario's buying a case of wine and no one's getting helped. It's like all the money goes to the kids.
Yeah.
So if you want to give and then when my father passed, we gave no flowers and lieu give to the big guy. It's the best charity. It helps kids. It helps families in need, and they're classy people. But right before we leave, though, I do want to say, what a Final Four! Congratulations on Michigan. And I asked Gene on the radio today, I can't believe they didn't throw that kid from Tennessee out with that shoulder. It looked like Barnaby coming into a scrum, throwing the shoulder. But the Duke Connecticut game was, because the rest of the games were kind of like all weekend. That the Duke Connecticut game lived up to all the hype.
All timer.
Did you catch that, Josh?
I was watching that game at the airport in Pittsburgh right before I flew out to New York. And the roar from the sports bar when that shot went in, I think everybody was rooting against Duke just out of habit. And that was unbelievable. One of the best finishes I think we've ever seen to a game.
I will know where I will be forever from that shot. Like, I know where I was at when that Leitner shot hit.
Yeah.
Just like I know where I was at Thursday night in the Rainstorm McCain's Clubhouse after the show with former Two for Talking guest Mike Minda came to the show, and we watched little Ben Kindle in a shootout. I'll never forget where I was at when that happened. We didn't even talk about it. I mean, that Ottawa game was the biggest game of the year. I mean, we would have been sunk if we didn't win that game.
Yeah, that was a huge one, no question. Especially with Sid going out and they find a way to win in a place where they never win. This team's got a lot of balls, guys. A lot of heart. I mean, that's undeniable at this point. They just never go away.
I put the South Park guy that has the testicles in the wheelbarrow. I said that's what this team looks like. They've just got balls for, as GMJR said to you once, balls for days, I believe.
That was after Game 7 in Washington in 2017.
If we win tonight, if we get 2 points tonight, I'll be able to relax about Tampa. Yeah. We got to win. We got to get 2 tonight.
Yeah, if they win tonight, that's a house money game in Tampa, I would say. So
yeah, and I will say, thank you for the Michigan shout out, but Michigan hockey also made it to the Frozen Four, so it was a good weekend. The Penn State, they didn't even win a game, and then their Twitter account immediately puts out, "How about this? Picture this: Gavin McKenna, Hobie Baker Award winner." Like, come on, like have some self-awareness.
Picture this Golden Gloves champion.
Yeah. Yeah,
but you know what? You should have been rooting for Michigan State, so Porter Martone would
still
be in college.
That's what
you should have been rooting for.
As soon as I saw that picture of him with a Flyer jersey, I thought to myself, you know what? I think it was a mistake rooting for them to get knocked out.
It certainly was.
So, because I mean, that's not the Frozen Four is not for 2 weeks. They don't go up against the Final Four, so that would have been 2 more weeks of no Martone. He wouldn't have made a debut.
He would have been playing next season.
Yeah. So, hopefully it doesn't come back to bite us in the arse. But yeah, again, we appreciate all of you that watch. You guys are great. We appreciate this community. We talked about it, honestly, before the show. We're like, man, just the people that listen to this show, keep this show going. We appreciate all of you. And let's get 2 points tonight. What do you say? Let's start locking some things down. And
thanks, Bill. Thanks, Alex. Thanks, Labatt.
Yeah,
Gino. Let's see you tonight.
You might,
arrested Gino on the back of that. Let's see it.
Keep your stick down.
Wouldn't shock me if he's in tonight. We'll see.
All right. We'll talk to you guys next week.